There might finally be light at the end of the tunnel for Everton fans. Farhad Moshiri has agreed to sell the club to the Friedkin Group, an American consortium that also owns Roma.
Yeah, should this deal be approved, it will end more than 2 years of uncertainty surrounding the club's ownership. For more on this, we can head live to our reporter Vinny O'Connor. Vinny, very good morning to you. Huge news for Everton. What happens next then?
Well, we're hoping this is going to be the straightforward part, because nothing has been straightforward so far. And don't forget, back in July, the Friedkin Group pulled out of a deal to buy Everton, citing concerns over a £200 million loan payable to another group that was prospective owners at one point in 777 Partners. But just as they did with Roma in their purchase of Roma, the Friedkin Group come back to the table when it looked like John Textor was going to take over Everton Football Club. And there were numerous meetings over the weekend. And at that point, it was when Farhad Moshiri made his decision to go with the Friedkin Group. And the deal that he's agreed now is up to £550 million of equity investment by the Friedkin Group that puts Everton in a stronger financial position than any other deal that's been put forward. It will mean the paying off of a £200 million loan from 777 Partners, the loan that I mentioned. They provided that money as they continued their efforts to buy the club, of course, with the money being used for the stadium build and as working capital as well. It also includes the Friedkin Group turning their own £200 million loan to the club to equity in Everton, having paid off the debt to another proposed buyer. That was MSP Sports Capital. And now what happens is they have to go through the regulatory processes. So they need to get approval by the Financial Conduct Authority. They need approval from the Football Association. They need to pass the Premier League directors and owners test as well. All that is expected to be trouble-free, and then they will need to satisfy the conditions of the sale agreement. So all this could go through within the next couple of months. And as I say, Evertonians now are feeling that there's finally light at the end of the tunnel in terms of this takeover process now.
Yeah, Vinny, so should the takeover go through, what will be some of the first things on the agenda?
I think at the moment, obviously, the Friedkin Group's concentration is purely on getting the transaction done. And for now, the running of the club will be left to the current regime as well. But clearly, everyone concerned with the football club will be hoping that results improve, because the new owners coming in will want to be taking charge of a club that's obviously moving into a brand new stadium, but will move into that brand new stadium as a Premier League club as well. But in terms of what they've got to do once they get in, well, obviously they need to balance the club finances, and they can do that through various ways. Obviously, greater income and greater revenue. So with that new stadium, that will obviously help. Naming rights, for instance, greater sponsorship on top of that. But also it comes to player trading, player recruitment as well. And we've seen a bit of a hint as to the way Everton are going to move forward with that, I think, through the summer, with Onana being sold for big money. And the impression you get now is that Everton are looking at a player trading model where they have to make a big sale every year, but will be able to reinvest that kind of money with young, hungry players coming into the football club who will increase in value as well. At the same time, there's a bit of a blank canvas for the new owners coming in terms of the squad that they're going to be inheriting, because of the number of players who are effectively out of contract next summer. So you're talking of players like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, for instance, Lindstrom, Broja, Mangala and Harrison are all loan deals. Doucouré, Keane, Idrissa Gana Gueye, João Virginia, Ashley Young and Seamus Coleman will be out of contract next summer as well. So there's plenty to be sorted out with that playing squad. And also, I suppose, the new owners have to look at the situation and will they be happy with the sporting director and managerial setup here, or is that something that they need to look at and change as well? So plenty for them to consider, plenty of work to be done coming into the football club. But again, at least they will have a greater or a more sound financial basis to move from as well.
Yeah, Vinny, you touched on results. Everton still, of course, looking for their first Premier League win of the season. Will this news at least lift morale?
I think to a certain extent, it at least clear up some of the uncertainty, because at some point it's going to filter down, it's going to hit the players. And I mentioned all those players who are out of contract as well. It obviously impacts them in terms of the negotiations and what they can do over their futures, even the managerial situation as well, because Sean Dyche himself is out of contract next summer. And so it's kind of been an admission that Everton have been hamstrung in terms of being able to do anything as regards the managerial future, because the uncertainty over the ownership of the football club. So that would clear that up to a certain extent as well. We will be taking a look at the first team squad a little bit later on on as well, of course, because we'll be live at training around about 11 o'clock. And greater news for Everton at the moment is that Branthwaite and Nathan Patterson came through an under-21s game at the weekend. Branthwaite obviously has been a big miss for Everton. Performances at times have not been bad this season, for 87 minutes against Bournemouth, for instance. Even again at the weekend, Everton have created chances but just not been able to kill off teams when they've necessarily needed to, and obviously that's impacted morale. But now with the uncertainty over the ownership perhaps clearing up and getting players back, the likes of Jarrod Branthwaite as well, the results will improve on the pitch, because as I said earlier as well, the new owners will want to be taking charge of a Premier League club next season.
Vinny, great stuff. Thank you.